Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over the smoky skies that are covering much of the northern half of the US and parts of southern Canada due to those wildfires in western and central Canada. We're going to be going over that and what you should be expecting over the next couple of days in terms of the sky conditions. We're going to be going over the cloud cover and also the amount of dust and smoke that will be in the air. We've already seen a few pretty interesting photos coming out of some of these places, especially in areas like the northern plains and into the Great Lakes and Northeast, where we saw some of those hazy skies. Those created some good sunset pictures. And then also up in Canada, you actually have really cool photos of the actual wildfires themselves. So we're going to be going over that and much more in today's video. So make sure you are staying tuned all the way until the end. Here's a look at the current National Weather Service page. You can see that we have red flag warnings for fire danger in parts of the northwest for today. And then we have air quality alerts, which cover parts of the northwest, parts of Colorado, and also into a big part of Minnesota. And then we have them kind of scattered throughout parts of the southeast. And then one more kind of patch there for parts of the mid-Atlantic as well. So that's where we have our main threats for air quality danger or alerts in those areas. That's where we have the possibility of seeing some of that smoke kind of go down to the lower parts of the atmosphere. Right now, it's not really making too big of a deal in terms of the actual health conditions of many of the people who live in these areas, because, or at least people who live in the United States who are getting affected by the smoke in the skies, really not having too much of an effect because most of that actual smoke is in the upper part of the atmosphere. It's not really translating down further lower, but if you go up into Canada, there are some areas where it is very dangerous to be outside by this point because the fires are still going on, and of course they are creating smoke and flames that are dangerous to most people. Looking at parts of the southwest, we have some flood watches currently in place. Yesterday we had a high temperature of 119 degrees in Death Valley, California, with a low temperature of 35 in Bodie State Park, California. We had a highest rainfall report in Dawsonville, Georgia, where they got 4.72 inches of rainfall. No snowfall reports as of yesterday. So here's just a few pictures. I just picked a couple from all around the country and also up in Canada as well. In the bottom right hand corner, you can see a picture of one of the actual fires. We have many different fires going on. We have around 30 to 50 going on. We're going to show you the wildfire map in just a little bit, but this is just one of them. This is in Banff National Park, which is right on the border between Alberta and British Columbia in the higher elevation region. That's where we have a big cluster of these wildfires going on. And that's where most of your smoke is coming from, because most of your winds in the upper part of the atmosphere go from west to east, from western Canada further to the east into parts of the eastern part of Canada and the eastern United States. That's why we're seeing some of this actually moving all the way to the eastern half of the United States and parts of eastern Canada. And another reason is because we have a trough into the eastern United States that's bringing a little dip in the jet stream. So most of the smoke is moving through parts of central Canada and then dipping down into the northern plains and eventually moving into parts of the northeast. So on the bottom right, that's the actual wildfires. You can see a few cool pictures from Minnesota. They had a very nice sunset there, where they had the haze kind of covering up the skies. Chicago also saw some of the hazy conditions. And then central PA, that was from one of the National Weather Service pages. They posted that. So I just took it off the website, and you can see that they also had those hazy skies. And the sun is that little dot right there. So the haze is covering up the sun a little bit. It is making for some cool sky conditions. I know I went outside yesterday, and the sky did look fairly kind of interesting. It had kind of the same color all over the sky. It was mainly just kind of a pink color, and I went out at sunset, and there was definitely you could definitely take some cool pictures of the sunset if you were to go out over the next couple of days, because this haze is causing some cool conditions with the sun. Taking a look at the actual satellite imagery, you can definitely tell where that trough is. It's right in here, and so what that's doing is bringing in all the smoke from the wildfires in British Columbia and Alberta, making them move through parts of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, dipping down into Minnesota and the Great Lakes, and then eventually moving back up through the Northeast. So this is how the smoke particles are actually moving. Some of that is kind of getting lost down into the Central Plains as well. So we do have kind of a pocket of higher smoke levels into that area as well. Taking a look at the actual amount of smoke that was observed, and this was from the 19th. I couldn't find I was trying to find where this map and where this image was from, so that I could get the latest imagery of this. But this was actually from yesterday, so I wasn't able to get the most recent image of this. But I guess this is fine and will do for now. You can see that we have the highest levels from yesterday, at least, in parts of the northern plains, the Great Lakes, and then kind of in a belt shape moving up through the northeast. So we have this entire northern half of the country, which is engulfed in these high amounts of smoke. And then you also see that up through central Canada, even through parts of the northwest where the wildfires are starting up in those areas. So that's where we have the smoke, and that's why we're seeing those hazy skies, those interesting looking skies. And that's what's creating those conditions in the sky. That's why you can see mainly just a blank kind of slate, one color in the atmosphere. You're only when you look up at the sky, when you look up at the sun, it's mainly just one color. It's mainly a pink or kind of grayish color. It kind of looks like it's covered with clouds, even though it actually isn't. So it's making some interesting conditions. It looks kind of peculiar outside if you live within this zone, and definitely if you guys live within this zone, let me know how it looks from your house, because all around the country there's different views of what the sky looks like. Taking a look at the actual wildfire map, every single one of these red dots is another wildfire. So you can see that we have a couple clusters. We have one up in northwestern Canada. We have another area through parts of British Columbia and just into the westernmost part of Alberta. But most of that smoke is not moving into the coastal areas like Seattle or Vancouver. Most of that smoke is actually heading in through the plains, so into parts of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, North Dakota, Minnesota. These areas are the areas that are actually getting most of the smoke and the hazy conditions from this. We see a few more. We have one into northern parts of Saskatchewan and northern Manitoba, and then one more which is just kind of centered over this area right here into western Ontario and eastern Manitoba. Other than that, we have a few more scattered throughout parts of Ontario and Quebec, as well as into the northern territories, but we really don't have many other big clusters currently in place. And this is from the Canadian Weather Service website. So this is where I got that map from. Taking a look at the risk and the fire danger from these storms, this only covers Canada, since most of the fire danger is going to be up into western Canada, but most of the smoke, of course, is going down into the central parts of Canada and then into the United States. So looking at the fire danger map, you can see that we do have anyone in that yellow risk, in that yellow color. That's where we have at least a high risk of fire danger. And then you're getting into those orange and even red colors into parts of southern Canada. And that's where we're at very high or even extreme fire danger conditions within these areas. So this is where we're dealing with most of the danger in terms of life-threatening conditions from the actual wildfires themselves. Again, this is not really connected to the haze in the sky. The haze in the sky is not going to have any real detrimental impacts. It's not going to cause any real danger. It's just going to make for some interesting looking skies over the next couple of days. Taking a look at the cloud cover, and this is I just wanted to show you this because a lot of people think that this is just cloud cover in the sky, and that's what's actually bringing in these mostly kind of gray or very light pink skies, and it's really not. It's just it's fairly actually clear out there. The white colors are where you're seeing most of the cloud cover, and then in the kind of bluish colors, that's where you're getting less so in terms of cloud cover. That's where you're mostly partly cloudy or even completely clear. And this would be for today, and you can see that we have 4 parts of the northern plains, some of that cloud cover. So that's where you're getting some cloud cover. You have a little bit of cloud cover in parts of the northeast, but you're still seeing those hazy skies in parts of the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes, and they have cloud cover at around 25 to 40%. So you're not really seeing most of these skies turn out the way they are because of the cloud cover. Most of this is actually just from this smoke coming down from parts of Canada, moving into the northern plains and the Great Lakes. Moving on a little bit more, here would be by later tonight. So if you want to take some pictures of the night sky, it will be fairly clear, and it will definitely make for some interesting pictures, especially with that smoke still being visible overnight in these areas. You can see that we have a big pocket of fairly low cloud cover, close to 0% in parts of the northeast and mid-Atlantic, as well as into the northern plains. We have this little pocket up here in the Great Lakes where we will still see some cloud cover, and then by Thursday afternoon, more cloud cover for the northeast starts to clear out more for the northern plains and parts of the Great Lakes. Here would be the actual dust, and we're going to kind of time this out for you guys so you can see where you're going to see the highest concentrations of these dust particles. You can see that as of right now, this would be around this morning. You can see that we have some of these higher concentrations of this dust in parts of central Canada, especially where you have mainly the highest amounts. We also saw yesterday this little pocket right here. This was yesterday over parts of Pennsylvania, Maryland, New Jersey, and now it's moving into parts of Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, as well as some parts of coastal New Hampshire and Maine. This will be moving offshore. You will still see some of this dust being left over, but you can see how even if you live in eastern Ontario or pretty much the entirety of Quebec or into parts of the interior northeast, you're not really dealing with this. So it's going to be more of a localized type of event. You have to be within this maybe 100 to 150 mile wide band to actually get anything in terms of these hazy skies or in terms of the dust in the sky. So this would be for this morning. If we look at for later today, you can see that not a lot changes. We still have some of those higher amounts in parts of the central and northern plains. Moving on through, this would be tonight, and you can still see that we have a fairly large area in that blue color where you're dealing with some amount of noticeable haze in the sky. You still have some amount of dust and smoke in the atmosphere, and you can also see where the wildfires are. You have kind of little clusters of red and orange. You can see that we had that one cluster in parts of Manitoba and into Ontario. That's where we have those maxed out amounts of smoke. If we also look up through British Columbia and parts of the northwest where we have some wildfires going on, you also have those isolated areas of 1 to 2 values being put up, and then also you can see up into northern Saskatchewan, northern Manitoba. Those areas also where you have wildfires are getting some of those localized high amounts of dust in the atmosphere and in the skies. So it's going to be a localized thing. It'll be kind of more generalized and broadened out as you get into the United States. But if you live up in and near those wildfires, that's where you could be dealing with definitely more dangerous conditions. This is where you could definitely have some breathing issues and issues with people who have disabilities or who have just breathing problems in general if you live near those wildfires. So definitely make sure you are taking whatever precautions your local governments are telling you to take if you live near those wildfires, especially because that's where it actually is dangerous. If you live down in the United States, for the most part, it's not going to be anything life-threatening. It's just going to make for some cool-looking skies and pictures. And then moving on for tomorrow morning, you can still see that we have some of that dust lingering in, even moving into parts of the Carolinas. So for tomorrow morning, you can maybe get some good sunrise photos if you live in parts of the Carolinas with all that dust moving into those areas. And then the central and northern plains covered up with that blue color, indicating that we do have some amount of dust or smoke still visible in the atmosphere. And then by later that morning, you can see not a lot's changed. It's gradually moving to the south, but now by this point, parts of the northeast have cleared out from most of that smoke and in most of the dust in the atmosphere, and then also in the west, and that's where we're clearing out from the smoke. We really don't have too much to worry about in terms of those hazy skies in those areas. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. A little bit of a different video. Usually I cover mostly weather related events, and I guess you could say this is weather related, but normally I'm talking about, some sort of storm or hurricane. But this time I want to go a little bit different. It is a bit of a quieter weather day. We don't have many other things going on, so I want to cover this because I know I do have a few viewers from central Canada and also a bunch of viewers from these areas in the northern plains, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast who are going to be impacted by this, and even some areas further, some viewers further to the south who might even get a chance to get a look at some of these hazy and smoky looking skies, getting some good pictures out of the sunset and the sunrises, because those definitely look very, very nice, especially with the hazy skies. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.